Sometimes you look at your life and you realize it doesn't look the way you thought it would. Not worse, just different. I don't know exactly when it started, but I remember there was a time when everything felt pretty clear. Not perfect, not detailed, just clear. Like I had this loose idea of how my life would go. Nothing crazy, nothing dramatic, just a direction. And somehow that felt enough. When you are younger, you don't really question the timeline. You just assume things will happen. You assume that you'll figure it out. You'll beat something. You'll become someone. There's this quiet confidence, like life is a road that just naturally moves forward. I remember telling myself I would have everything sorted out by 30. I really believed that. It wasn't pressure, it was just expectation. Like the future was a place you would eventually arrive at, automatically. And the strange thing is, back then, the plan didn't even need details. It wasn't about money, or status, or even proving anything. It was just this image of stability, of feeling settled, of knowing you made it somewhere. But the older you get, the more you realize that nothing really clicks into place overnight. There's no big moment where someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Okay, you are there now." Instead, things move slowly, messily, and sometimes not at all. And that's when the question starts to appear, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly in the back of your mind. Wait, am I where I thought I would be by now? That question doesn't hit you all at once. It's not some dramatic breakdown. It's usually small. You're doing something normal, driving somewhere, washing dishes, scrolling for no reason, and a thought just slips in. Is this it? Not in a hopeless way, just in a confused way. Because technically life is moving. You're older, you've learned things, you've experienced things, but somehow it doesn't feel like you imagine it would. There's this strange gap between what you pictured and what actually happened. And the gap isn't that big, it's subtle. Like remembering a place and standing in it years later. It looks familiar, but it feels different. And the hardest part is, nothing is necessarily wrong. You're not failing, you're not falling apart. You're just not exactly where you thought you'd be. And that's harder to explain. Because when something is clearly broken, you know what to fix. But when everything is fine, when life looks okay from the outside, that quiet gap becomes invisible, even to you. So you start adjusting your expectations, quietly, lowering some of them, letting go of others. Not because you gave up, but because life didn't follow the script you wrote years ago. And maybe that's the part nobody talks about. Not the big failures, not the dramatic setbacks, but the slow realization that life rarely matches the version you once imagined so clearly. And then there's the part that makes it harder. You start noticing everyone else. Not in a jealous way, just in an awareness kind of way. Like suddenly you're very aware of where other people are. Someone gets engaged, someone buys a house, someone seems certain. And you're happy for them, you really are. But at the same time, something shifts inside you. It's not that you want their life, it's just that their movement highlights your stillness. Their clarity makes your uncertainty louder. And suddenly, the gap feels a little bigger than before. You start measuring things differently. Not by what you've learned, not by who you've become, but by milestones, timelines, invisible checkpoints you once believed in. And comparison is strange, because it rarely shouts, it whispers. It makes you question things that felt fine 5 minutes ago. It turns "I'm doing okay" into "should I be further?" And the truth is, everyone looks like they are moving forward from the outside. But you don't see their doubts, their hesitations, their own quiet gaps. You only see the parts that look certain. And then comes a fear that's even more quiet. Not that you failed, not that everything is ruined, but that maybe, just maybe, you missed something. A moment, an opportunity, a version of your life that was supposed to happen. It's a strange kind of fear, because nothing obvious went wrong. You showed up, you tried, you made decisions with the information you had at the time. And yet, there's this feeling that a door closed somewhere. Maybe it was a career path, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a risk you didn't take. And now, when you think about it, you can't tell if you were being wise or just afraid. And the thing is, there's no way to know. You can't replay the timeline. You can't test the other version of your life. You can only imagine it. And imagination tends to be generous. So sometimes you build an alternate life in your head. The one where you moved sooner, spoke up earlier, took the chance. And in that version, everything flows more smoothly. Of course it does. But the truth is, every path closes other path. Every decision locks something behind it. Not in a tragic way, just in a human way. And maybe the fear isn't about missing something. Maybe it's about accepting that you chose something else. What if the problem isn't that you're behind? What if it's that you're still comparing your life to a version you created years ago? A version built with less experience, less context, less reality. Back then, you didn't know what you know now. You didn't know what would matter, what would hurt, what would change you. So of course the plan was simpler. It had to be. Maybe you're not late. Maybe you just took a different route. One with detours, one with pauses. One with lessons you didn't expect to need, but needed anyway. And maybe the reason it doesn't look like you imagine is because you've changed. Your priorities shifted. Your definition of success softened. Your idea of happiness became more specific, more personal. It's easy to believe life is something you're supposed to arrive at, but maybe it's something you slowly understand. Maybe being where you're supposed to be doesn't feel like a milestone. Maybe it feels ordinary, stable. And maybe one day, years from now, you look back at this version of your life, the one that felt uncertain, the one that felt slightly off plan, and you'll realize it wasn't a delay, it was just the path.